Imagine this. It's a regular Tuesday night. You're scrolling your phone, maybe watching something on TV, and then everything goes dark. Not just your street, everything. No lights, no Wi-Fi, no cell signal. You walk outside and the whole neighborhood is black as far as you can see. Now imagine that's not just tonight, that's the next 90 days. No grocery store restocks, no running water, no one coming to fix it anytime soon. Just you, your home, and whatever you have on hand right now. Most people would be in serious trouble by day 3, hungry by day 1, panicking by day 2, and completely lost by day 3. But here's the thing. Surviving a situation like that isn't about being some kind of wilderness expert or hardcore doomsday prepper. It's about knowing what to stock, what to do, and how to stay calm when everything around you is falling apart. In this video, we're walking you through the exact supplies and strategies that will carry you through a full 90-day grid-down scenario. We're talking food, water, power, tools, hygiene, warmth, and medical preparedness. Everything you actually need, explained in a way that's practical, realistic, and easy to act on. And make sure you stay until the end, because the last thing we cover is the prep that almost nobody thinks about, and honestly, it might be the most important one of all. Welcome to Food Decider, the channel where we help you plan, prepare, and eat smart no matter what life throws at you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and give this video a like. It genuinely helps us keep making content like this. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious. When the power goes out, your refrigerator is the first thing to betray you. Everything you've been storing in there, the leftovers, the fresh produce, the meat, it all has maybe 4 hours before it starts going bad. Your freezer buys you a little more time, maybe a day or 2 if you keep it closed, but that's it. After that, you're on your own. And if you think you'll just run to the store, think again. In a real grid-down scenario, store shelves are emptied within hours. We've seen it happen with hurricanes, winter storms, even minor supply disruptions. A 90-day blackout would make those situations look like a minor inconvenience. So the foundation of surviving this kind of emergency is building your food supply before it ever happens. Not during, before. Now, most people think about emergency food, they picture sad cans of beans and dusty ramen noodles. And while there's nothing wrong with either of those, real preparedness goes a lot further than that. The goal is to have calorie-dense, shelf-stable food that can sustain you and your family for 3 full months. And ideally, food that doesn't make every meal feel like a punishment. Freeze-dried meals are one of the best options out there for exactly that reason. Brands like Mountain House and ReadyWise have been refining this stuff for decades, and the result is surprisingly good food that just needs water, hot or cold, to be ready to eat. Beef stroganoff, chili mac, chicken and rice, these aren't gourmet meals, but they're real food that actually tastes like something. And they last up to 25 years sealed, which means you buy them once and they're there whenever you need them. Beyond freeze-dried meals, the real horsepower of your food supply are going to be the basics: rice, pasta, and oats. These 3 ingredients are cheap, incredibly versatile, and store for years when done correctly. A bag of rice and a can of beans is a complete protein. A pot of oats in the morning keeps you full for hours. Pasta can be turned into dozens of different meals depending on what you pair it with. Don't underestimate how far these simple foods will carry you. Canned goods are another essential layer. Canned meats, beans, vegetables, and fruits give you variety and nutrition without refrigeration. One practical tip here: whenever you can, opt for pull-tab cans. When you're tired, cold, and stressed, the last thing you want to be doing is hunting through your supplies for a can opener in the dark. Speaking of which, always have a manual can opener anyway. More on that later. Peanut butter and powdered milk deserve a special mention because they pull double duty. Peanut butter is loaded with healthy fats and protein, it requires 0 preparation, and kids and adults both tend to eat it without complaining. Powdered milk adds calcium and protein to your diet, works in cooking and baking, and stores beautifully long term. Both are underrated and should be in every prep kit. If you want a simple, no-thinking required solution to at least part of your food supply, pre-packed emergency food buckets are worth considering. These are essentially full meal systems designed specifically for long-term emergencies. You just add water. They're convenient, calorie-counted, and take the guesswork out of meal planning under stress. Now, storing the food is half the equation. How you store it matters just as much. Dry goods like rice, oats, and flour should be stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers inside, sealed buckets. This removes the oxygen that causes food to degrade, and when done correctly, it can extend the shelf life of your dry goods for decades. Keep everything in a cool, dry, dark place, not in your garage where temperatures swing, and not in a damp basement. And rotate your stock. Use the older stuff first and replace it. Think of your food supply as a living system, not a set-it-and-forget-it storage unit. Food keeps your body running, but there's something more critical, something you can survive without for weeks if you have food, but will kill you in days if you don't have it, and that's water. When the grid fails, your kitchen faucet goes silent. Municipal water systems depend on electric pumps to maintain pressure. No power means no water pressure, and even if some water trickles through initially, you can't count on it being safe to drink within days of a major outage. This is not a situation where
the general rule for water storage is 1 gallon per person per day. That covers drinking, basic cooking, and minimal hygiene. If you have a family of 4, you're looking at 360 gallons to get through 90 days. That sounds like a lot, because it is, but this is survivable with the right containers. A few 55-gallon water barrels in a garage or basement can cover a significant chunk of that number. For people without that kind of space, multiple 5 to 7-gallon containers stacked in closets or under beds can add up fast. But here's the thing about water storage. It's not enough on its own. Containers can spring leaks, water can get contaminated, stored supplies run out. You need multiple layers of purification as a backup, and ideally, those layers work independently of each other. Portable water filters are your first line of defense. Products like the Life Straw and the Sawyer Mini have become popular for a reason. They're compact, require no power, and can filter bacteria, parasites, and microplastics from virtually any water source, including streams, puddles, and collected rainwater. They're not perfect for every scenario, but they are incredibly reliable, and something every prep kit should include. Purification tablets and drops are your second layer. They're cheap, lightweight, and work when filters get damaged or clogged. You drop them in questionable water, wait the recommended time, and it's safe to drink. Simple, effective, and easy to store in large quantities. Collapsible water containers are a third piece of the puzzle, not for filtration, but for transport and collection. They fold flat when empty, expand to hold several gallons, and are perfect for collecting rainwater off a roof or hauling water from a nearby stream back to your shelter. The rule with water is the same as everything else in preparedness. Never rely on a single system. Stack your methods. If your filter breaks, you have tablets. If your stored supply runs low, you have collection and purification options. Think in layers and treat every drop you have like it's irreplaceable, because in a prolonged emergency, it is. All right, so now your food and water situation is handled. You've got 3 months of meals, you've got water stored, and multiple ways to purify more. That's your foundation. But surviving 90 days isn't just about eating and drinking. It's about being able to function, to see at night, to charge the devices that keep you connected to emergency information, to repair things when they break, and to do all of it without relying on the electrical grid. Let's talk about power first. Even in a grid-down scenario, having some level of electricity available changes everything. You don't need to power your whole house. You need enough to charge a phone, run an emergency radio, keep a light on, and potentially power a small medical device or a compact refrigerator for essential medications. That's actually achievable with modern solar technology, and it doesn't require a massive budget. Solar generators have become genuinely impressive over the last few years. Brands like Goal Zero, Bluetti, and EcoFlow produce quiet, portable units that charge from solar panels during the day and store that energy in built-in batteries for use whenever you need it. The better models can run phones, LED lights, fans, and even mini refrigerators for extended periods. They're silent, they produce no fumes, and they work as long as the sun keeps rising, which, fortunately, it tends to do. If a full solar generator is outside your budget right now, a solar charging power bank is a meaningful step in the right direction. These are compact, affordable, and can capture enough sunlight during the day to keep phones and USB-powered devices running. Some of them come with built-in flashlights and multiple charging ports. They won't power large appliances, but they'll keep you connected, which, in an emergency, is huge. Whatever power setup you go with, build a small accessories kit to support it. Spare cables, multiple adapter types, USB-C, micro USB, Lightning, and a set of rechargeable AA and AAA batteries with a solar-compatible charger. Small things, but they matter enormously when you realize the one device you need most uses a cable you don't have. Now about those lights. Once the sun goes down in a grid-down scenario, darkness is complete in a way that most of us have genuinely never experienced. There are no streetlights, no glow from neighbors' windows, no ambient light from screens. It is dark in a way that feels almost physical. And operating in that kind of darkness without proper lighting is how accidents happen. Solar lanterns are one of the smartest lighting investments you can make. They charge passively throughout the day, just sitting on a windowsill or outside, and they provide hours of soft, steady light at night. Many models also include a USB charging port, which means your lantern is doing double duty as a power source. Practical, quiet, and they work indefinitely as long as there's daylight, which, fortunately, it tends to do. LED flashlights have earned their place in every prep kit not because they're exciting, but because they are flat-out reliable. Modern LED flashlights are bright enough to light up a room, run for hours on a single set of batteries, and hold up to rough handling. Keep one in every room of your home, one in your vehicle, and one in any bag you might grab in a hurry. They are not glamorous, they just work. Headlamps take that reliability and add something invaluable. They leave your hands free. When you're cooking over a camp stove in the dark, making repairs, reading a first aid guide, or moving through your home with supplies in your arms, a headlamp is worth 10 regular flashlights. This is one of those items that sounds minor until you actually need it, and then you will never want to be without one again. Crank-powered lights are your insurance policy. No batteries, no sunlight needed. A few minutes of hand cranking provides emergency illumination when everything else has run out or failed. They're not your primary lighting, but as a backup, they are irreplaceable. And don't overlook, they're cheap enough to stock in bulk, require absolutely nothing to activate, and are useful for marking paths, illuminating spaces without fire risk, and providing soft light that's genuinely comforting in stressful conditions, especially if you have children with you. Now let's talk about tools, because at some point in a 90-day emergency, something is going to break, need fixing, or require cutting, prying, or disassembling. And when that happens, you need to have the right tool in your hand rather than staring at the problem wishing you did. A quality multi-tool is one of the highest value items you can own in a survival situation. Something from Leatherman or Gerber, tools that have been tested and refined over decades, will give you pliers, multiple blades, screwdrivers, scissors, a wire cutter, a bottle opener, a saw, and more, all in a package small enough to fit in your pocket. The value isn't in any single function. It's in having all those functions available at any moment without needing to dig through a toolbox. The manual can opener might be the most unassuming critical item on this entire list. You could have a pantry stocked floor to ceiling with canned food, and without a manual can opener, all of it is inaccessible. Not inconvenient, inaccessible. Keep more than one. Keep them in different locations. This is a $2 item that cannot be improvised, and losing it would be genuinely catastrophic. An axe or hatchet becomes important the moment you're dealing with any kind of heat source that burns wood, a fireplace, a wood stove, an outdoor fire. You need to be able to process firewood, and doing that by hand without the right tool is exhausting and inefficient. A hatchet is also useful for clearing debris, processing material for shelter building, and a dozen other tasks that come up in extended outdoor or semi-outdoor survival situations. Keep it sharp and handle it with respect. Finally, the hand crank emergency radio. This might genuinely be the most underrated item in the entire preparedness conversation. When the power is out, when your phone signal is gone, when you have no idea what's happening out there or when things might return to normal, a hand crank radio with AM, FM, and NOAA weather band access is your window to the world. Emergency broadcasts, weather updates, evacuation orders, infrastructure updates. All of it comes through that radio. Look for a model that also has a solar charging option and a built-in USB port for charging phones. In terms of how much peace of mind it delivers per dollar spent, nothing else on this list comes close. At this point, you've got food, water, power, lighting, and tools handled. That's genuinely more than most people will ever prepare for, and it puts you in a strong position. But surviving 90 days means surviving all of it, not just the first 2 weeks when adrenaline is high and the novelty of the situation is still keeping you sharp. It means managing your health, staying warm through whatever season you're dealing with, and being able to handle medical situations without professional help. These are the things that separate people who make it through a long-term emergency in decent shape from those who don't. Let's start with hygiene because it tends to get treated as a comfort issue when it's actually a survival issue. Without running water, maintaining basic cleanliness takes conscious effort and the right supplies. But here's why it matters beyond just feeling better. Poor hygiene in a group setting, or even for a single person over time, leads to illness. And illness in a grid-down scenario, where medical help is unavailable or overloaded, can escalate from minor to serious very quickly. Keeping yourself and your space clean is genuinely preventative medicine. Wet wipes and hand sanitizer become the foundation of your daily hygiene routine when showers aren't available. Wet wipes can handle a full body wipe down, clean wounds, and substitute for soap and water in most routine situations. Hand sanitizer is especially critical before handling food or treating any kind of wound. Stock both in serious quantities. This is not an area to be conservative with. Heavy-duty trash bags might not sound like a hygiene supply, but they are essential for waste management. Managing garbage, containing contaminated material, and organizing waste disposal in a way that keeps your living space clean and disease-free requires bags that won't split or fail. Go industrial strength and double bag anything that could be a contamination risk. If your home's toilets stop working, which they will if municipal water pressure fails, a portable toilet or a standard bucket with heavy-duty liner bags becomes necessary. This is one of the least glamorous parts of emergency preparedness, but failing to plan for it creates serious sanitation and health risks, especially in a household with multiple people. Plan for it, stock the right supplies, and you eliminate what could be otherwise a significant problem. Feminine hygiene products need to be stocked in significant quantities, and this is an area where reusable options like menstrual cups offer a real long-term advantage. In a 90-day emergency, resupply isn't an option, so either stock generously or invest in reusable solutions that remove the supply dependency entirely. Round out your hygiene kit with toothbrushes, toothpaste, bar soap, waterless soap, and dry shampoo. Small habits like brushing your teeth or washing your face each day have an outsized effect on morale and mental state over weeks and months. Don't underestimate the psychological value of maintaining basic routines when everything else feels out of control. Now let's talk about warmth, because this is where emergencies that start as inconveniences can turn fatal. Hypothermia doesn't require extreme weather. It just requires wet clothing and a dropping temperature, conditions that are easy to encounter when you don't have heat, dry shelter.
In a prolonged winter power outage, or even in a cooler fall or spring scenario where indoor temperatures drop into the 50s, staying warm is a full-time job. Emergency Mylar blankets are the first line of defense and one of the most space-efficient items in your entire kit. They reflect up to 90% of your body heat back to you. They weigh almost nothing, they fold into a pocket-sized square, and they cost almost nothing. Keep them everywhere, in your prep kit, in your car, in your go bag. If someone is showing signs of cold exposure or shock, wrapping them in a Mylar blanket immediately while you address other needs could save their life. A cold weather sleeping bag is a more serious investment, but in a prolonged emergency, it pays for itself on the first cold night. Look for bags rated for at least 20 degrees Fahrenheit below your expected low temperatures.
If you're in a northern climate and your area regularly sees temperatures below zero in winter, plan accordingly. Your body needs to be genuinely warm to sleep, recover, and function the next day. Tents and tarps have applications beyond outdoor camping. Inside a larger, poorly insulated space, setting up a tent or using tarps to section off a smaller area concentrates body heat and makes the space dramatically easier to warm. It sounds counterintuitive to set up a tent inside your house, but it can make a meaningful difference in temperature on a cold night when there's no central heat running. Hand warmers and foot warmers are small, cheap, and highly effective for protecting your extremities during periods of low activity, sleeping, sitting, traveling in a cold vehicle. Stock them in bulk. They're single use, so having plenty matters. And then there's your clothing system. Staying warm is about layers, not about one thick item. Thermal base layers lock in body heat next to your skin. A fleece mid-layer provides insulation. A waterproof outer shell protects against wind and moisture. Hats, gloves, and wool socks complete the system. The most important rule here is simple: stay dry. Wet clothing pulls heat from your body dramatically faster than dry clothing. Waterproof outer layers aren't optional if you're going to be dealing with rain, snow, or any kind of outdoor activity. Which brings us to the final piece, and the one we told you about at the beginning, the prep that most people completely skip: medical preparedness. Think about this honestly. When the grid goes down, when roads are impassable, when emergency services are overwhelmed, who is going to treat you if something goes wrong? The answer, at least for the foreseeable future in a major emergency, is you. You are your own medic. And that means you need both the supplies and the knowledge to handle medical situations without outside help. A serious first aid kit goes well beyond the little plastic box with a few bandages in it. You need bandages in multiple sizes, sterile gauze pads, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, burn cream, elastic bandages for sprains, and nitrile gloves to protect yourself when treating others. These are the basics that handle the majority of injuries you're likely to encounter: cuts, burns, scrapes, sprains, blisters. Pain relievers, antihistamines, and antidiarrheal medication round out the over-the-counter layer of your medical kit. These address the most common non-injury health issues that arise in stressful emergency conditions: headaches, allergic reactions, gastrointestinal problems from water quality or stress. Stock more than you think you'll need. Prescription medications deserve serious attention. If you or anyone in your household depends on a medication to function or survive, insulin, blood pressure medication, thyroid medication, seizure medication, building a backup supply before an emergency is critical. Talk to your doctor about emergency prescriptions, use your full prescribed amounts strategically, and explore every legal option available to you. Running out of an essential medication 3 weeks into a 90-day emergency is a scenario you need to prevent before it becomes possible. And then there's the item that ties it all together: a printed, physical first aid guide. Not a phone app, not a website. A book with clear, step-by-step instructions for handling everything from CPR to wound closure to treating burns and managing chronic conditions without medical equipment. Your phone may be dead, your signal may be gone, but a book works forever. Learn from it before you need it, and keep it accessible. This is the prep that most people overlook because it requires not just buying something, but actually building a skill. And that's exactly why it matters so much. Here's the truth about all of this. Surviving 90 days without power isn't about having the most gear or the biggest stockpile. It's about making deliberate decisions before the emergency happens, so that when it does, you're not scrambling, you're ready. Every item we've covered today is available, affordable, and manageable. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with food and water. Add power and lighting. Work your way through tools, hygiene, warmth, and medical supplies over the coming weeks and months. Small, consistent steps build genuine resilience. The most important thing you can do right now is start, because the one thing you absolutely cannot do when the grid goes down is go back in time and prepare. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this information.
Subscribe to Food Decider so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you know someone who should be watching this, share it with them. It might be the most useful thing you do for them today. Stay prepared, stay safe, and we'll